Hello everyone, welcome to the Redmen TV. It's the Uncensored Match Build Up ahead of Liverpool versus West Ham in the Carabao Cup quarter-final, Amsterdam. This is Errol Smith. Over at the board is Steve Plunkett as well, with half a team behind him, because we've got no clue as to the team that Jurgen's going to select, and we don't even know what time the team's getting announced. It might be in an hour, it might be in 10 minutes, it might be in 5 minutes. Who knows? It just is what it is. First of all, happy Christmas to everybody. Hope you've enjoyed your shopping so far. Where are we now? 5 days away. You done?
After Dad's haven't even started.
I finished mine today. Finished today.
Finished?
Yeah, man. Boxed it off today.
What about you?
Nowhere near, mate.
No, exactly, that's what I'm saying. After
I've not even started.
There we go.
I finished mine today, mate. I went and boxed my half fella. He might be watching, so I'm not going to say what I've got him. And then, the mother
bear.
Candle,
yeah.
Oh, little
Yankee.
Oh, mate loves it. Can't go wrong getting your mum. It's the. I know your mum probably watching, so you don't have to spoil what you've got. But she into candles. She a candles fan.
She does.
She likes a candle. Who doesn't? All mums love a candle. Right then, we're waiting for Liverpool's team news to be announced ahead of the League Cup quarter-final. We're hearing rumours that Jurgen's going to go quite strong. Yeah. We'll see that as time goes by. I'll start with you first. We're going over to Ste. It's interesting, really, isn't it? Because of what we've just seen against Man United, which was underwhelming. There's a massive game with the weekend against Arsenal, but also it does feel like, given what happened yesterday, and the fact that it's Fulham, Chelsea, a pretty poor Chelsea side to be honest, and Middlesbrough left, there's a massive opportunity for Liverpool to go and win this competition. It does feel like Jurgen's probably going to go strong on this one, and then let Saturday take care of Saturday.
Yeah, and I to add to that as well, I heard a little bit on the grapevine the other day that I missed there. We could call him Captain Fantastic, but Virgil van Dijk is desperate to get his hands on some silverware as a captain. Yeah. He's kind of said that, behind the scenes to a couple of people, and said, that's a big priority for him. As soon as he can get some silver, he doesn't care what it is at this minute. He just knows, as a Liverpool captain, it's his next big task is to lift silverware with us as a club. So I like that. From my perspective, I kind of imagined we would then go on to kind of field a stronger side then, with, as you've just mentioned, then the teams that are left in this competition. Liverpool will seriously fancy themselves if they can make it into that semi-final, especially over 2 legs. So that bodes well for me. It gives me a little bit more confidence that you can sit there and call it the Carabao Cup, the League Cup, whatever you want to say, and Mickey Mouse Cup or whatever, but our lads are taking it very seriously because it's coming from the top down. If the captain wants the silverware, everybody's got to play up to the standard to be able to at least put in that kind of performance.
Absolutely. And Steve, I'll come over to you. It's worth mentioning Liverpool do have injuries. Jurgen Klopp spoke about them at length, and then Pep Lijnders spoke about them in his press conference as well. That is something that they're going to have to bear in mind as well, looking ahead to the weekend. Now, Gravenberch looks like it's back, which is a bonus. Obviously, he was only fatigued, but Liverpool are going to be without Alexis McAllister for a while. They're already, of course, have Bacecic and Thiago, so there are a couple of injuries that they're worried about. Jota, we don't know where he is yet, so it does feel like even if Jurgen wants to rotate, unless he play kids, which I'm not sure he wants to do, he hasn't got too many options in midfield.
No, but if you take the weekend, for instance, there's a lot of lads who need to get that performance out of the system. A lot of possession, a lot of chances created without really working the goalkeeper. You don't solve the hangover from that by sitting them all on the bench and watching and filling the team up with kids. And Errol's comments about Virgil van Dijk wanting to get his hands on some silverware, this trophy is the springboard to the second half, the remainder of your season, when you get into the business elements. And if you've got one in the locker already, you can relax just a touch. And the last thing any manager or anyone in professional sport says before they go out to do what they do is relax, because when you relax you can express yourself. So you get a trophy in the trophy cabinet, you have the day out in Wembley. It's great for the fans, it's great for the morale in the team, it's a springboard for the team. Many successful teams have started their trophy haul with the managers with League Cups, so I'm all for it, mate. I think we absolutely need to do it.
I'd say, I might be wrong, and this might be disrespectful to Chelsea, it might not be, but I'd say whoever wins this is I think will be the favourites, and I include West Ham in that. I think West Ham will I think they could get...
they're desperate for some silverware.
Yeah, I know. I think they could beat Chelsea. I think the best right this moment. I think they're better than Chelsea. I think it's a huge opportunity for whoever comes out of this hurdle to get through. And West Ham are a good team. It's where we'll see what type of team they go.
They're a strong side tonight.
We think so. There's rumours that there's been a bit of a sickness bug going around West Ham. We'll get that all clarified later. But it does feel like there's a huge opportunity for somebody. You take your chances over Middlesbrough, Fulham, or even Chelsea over 2 legs in a semi-final, and then one or the others in a final.
Both. I think can't take nothing for granted, though, mate. At the same time,
yeah.
As as we all witnessed on Sunday, you can play a team that looks like they're there for the taking.
Yep.
You know, you can go for the jugular and they can frustrate you and you can't break them down. All of these sides know we are the best ball playing team that they can draw in this competition. So what is the blueprint to beating a Liverpool side is being tight, compact, getting all the men behind the ball and hoping that you get a couple of chances to hit us in those half spaces, down the flanks, so you can kind of get in one-on-one versus Alisson. That's what they'll all be hoping and praying for. We've got to, at least within this performance, because West Ham can play a bit of footy as well. They gave us a good game in the league at Anfield, but I think the difference will be us having to prove that we can still break down a stubborn side, and if we can do that tonight, it definitely bodes well for any of the teams that we draw in this competition.
Absolutely, and I guess I get the weekend's a big challenge. It really is against Arsenal, but like it won't. I don't know. I don't think Jürgen cares really. I think he always just he preaches next game, and he will change his team up. He always has done. But I think I was speaking the other day on the build-up show. Me and Al a couple of years ago sat here when Liverpool played Leicester in the League Cup quarter-final. Liverpool, he went really young and it didn't work, and at half-time he had to take them all off. You know, I remember Billy Cometio started, I think Tyler Morton started that game, and they all whipped off at half-time. Leicester, you know, they schooled Liverpool really. They were 3-1 at one point, wasn't it? And it wasn't going well. I think given West Ham are even better, and given what we saw against Union with some of the youngsters, it would be a huge risk if he did go really young, like we've seen him doing previous years. It feels like that won't be an option for him tonight.
Yeah, I remember the game we talking about, the Leicester games, kind of break glass to go with the more senior players after the break, and it was a Jota game, wasn't it, when Minamino slotted that equaliser. I totally agree with you. I think against a side like this, with they've got some decent attacking players, Bowen and Antonio, if they play, you're probably too much to do if you find yourself in that position against West Ham. So lesson learned, and it's a result on the 9th, and you need to do it in 90 minutes because nobody really wants a penalty shootout, do they? But we don't. So there's no sense in both the teams coming to feel each other out. These games suit you to go and try and win it in 90 minutes, so that probably works better for a stronger side with not so many kids in. But we'll see. As you say, he's got injuries, but the spine of the team will be probably as strong as it can be, so I would imagine that'll be the case.
I think as well, Steve mentioned before, like there's a couple of lads, to be fair, I think, and I'm going to talk about Harvey Elliott in particular. I think will start. We don't know that. Like he should be gunning to be playing against with all just no pun intended, against Arsenal at the weekend. Like there's a space there for somebody to go and really put the foot down, because there are spaces up for grabs, and someone like him, if it's Curtis who plays tonight, Kwanzaa, whoever plays in the front three, whichever four of them play, there has to be, I don't think there's in an attacking sense, Liverpool have been brilliant recently. There's an opportunity for somebody to really, play well and get yourself in that team for the weekend. Because listen, it's Wednesday night, Saturday night. Liverpool have done this before. If you were playing Champions League, you'd play Wednesday, Saturday. So get over it. It is what it is. Tough luck. Move on with it. You're playing 8 o'clock Wednesday, 5:30 Saturday. Get you that's sound.
Yeah.
That's the Champions League schedule that we found ourselves in for years. They should be okay. There's massive opportunities for some lads here to get themselves in that Arsenal team, because I don't think there are too many shirts in an attacking sense you can say you're nailed on to play.
And that's the difficult thing for us at the moment, because we've boasted that we've got so much firepower up top, and the firing blanks at the minute. Yeah. It's how long do you stick with them to find themselves getting themselves back into form? Are they going to be able to do that, or do you need to drop somebody for a game or two, get them on the bench, let them just analyse things from the sidelines a little bit, see what they could be doing a little bit different, have a little bit of a look at themselves? I'm on the opinion at the moment they need to play themselves into form. So a game like this, for me, I want a big performance from the likes of someone like Diaz. I'd love a big performance from the likes of someone like Gakpo. I think he'd probably rest Nunes and go again for him on the weekend potentially. But again, we'll see. But as you mentioned, there's nobody nailed on apart from Salah, and even Salah at this moment for me has to look at himself and really think, if I'm not going to be scoring loads of goals, I've shown in the last couple of months I can be a really useful asset in terms of creating opportunities. Get that link up back with Nunes, find other people, get other people on the end of some opportunities that you provide for them as well, because the front three, as much as you say they're not scoring, they're not creating enough for each other. They're so heavily reliant on Trent being the provider for them to get on the end of anything. We've lost in the last 12 to 18 months, the ability to have a Firmino in there who will be selfless and give the ball and let other people get on the end of things, and a Mane who is often very selfless as well in the work rate that he was able to put in for us. So we need someone else now in that front three that wants to be the creator, that wants to be a provider, and I think Núñez has done fairly well at that. But everybody's leveraging that Núñez needs to be on the end of things. He needs to score. He needs to up his numbers. So if he's going to be the one that scores the goals, Salah or Diaz in turn have now got to start offering a little bit more when it comes to assists, from my perspective.
Yeah, there's a lot of lads with a little bit of a point to prove coming again into what's going to be a very busy period. We've got some big games coming up. How far ahead do you think he's thinking, Steve? Because we just mentioned Arsenal at the weekend, but then there's Burnley on Boxing Day. So effectively 3 games in a week now for Liverpool. It's Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday. Can you really, given the injury situation, given how everything is, can you really plan that far ahead to Tuesday, or is it mainly a bit tonight with a half an eye on Saturday as well, do you think?
Exactly that. It'll be get to tonight's game, get to the semi-finals, hopefully do it sooner rather than later to get some bodies off with a look at Arsenal. You know, this isn't about an Arsenal match tonight, but it can't not be in his mind that if we get a positive result against Arsenal next week, we go into the new year top of the league. That is more than we could have hoped for, given the changes in the personnel. That's ahead of the schedule, if you want to use that corny phrase, but it is. It's kind of Liverpool are in the best, strongest position we could have ever hoped for. You can't be better than first, can you? So I think Arsenal game definitely comes into the way of thinking, and you know we've a capacity in the team to put this away early doors, go 2 or 3-0 up, start quick, start well, get chances away, score goals, and then think about using the 5 subs to get the bodies that we want to, you know, run their blood to water against Arsenal, get them off, get them rested, and then go strong, really strong and really confident against Arsenal for me.
Absolutely, I suppose as well. There's a couple of factors in there. Is that no extra time's a bonus. So if you play someone from the start, that you don't have to worry about getting 120 minutes into the legs. Like the worst case is you're going to get 90 and maybe penalties. I think that does factor into it. Certainly factors in if you leave a couple on the bench and bring them on at half time. You know they're only getting 45. Yeah. There's no worry about the extra time, which I think is definitely something that is worth mentioning. Obviously, you don't always get that in certain competitions. The second one as well, mate, is that like having we drew against Man United. It's not the sky hasn't fallen down. It isn't like it isn't the catastrophe that we saw at times last season. But if you draw against a pretty poor Man United side with a poor performance, and then you don't play well against West Ham, all of a sudden it's a thing.
It's just like
it's a one-off shite result. Yeah, if you get that's, and I think Jürgen is a big believer in, especially at this time of year when the game's coming thick and fast, is just like trying to ride that. He calls it rhythm, doesn't he? Just get into the rhythm of winning with winning.
Exactly. Get the stink. It's a bad smell. Yeah. Drawing to Man U right now when they're as awful as they are, it's a bad smell, and a lot of those lads need to get rid of that smell ASAP. And we're almost lucky that we haven't had to wait almost a full week to be in a position to put it right. We've got not a warm-up game, because this game is, as I mentioned before, the news from inside the camp is, there's an appetite to win silverware. So this is the first opportunity that we can do it. These lads will want to go in with that mentality. However, we also know the bigger picture, and Arsenal plays into the bigger picture, but you want to make sure that you can continue that momentum. So if the lads were able to get it right, put it right on the pitch tonight, get that Man U at the back of the mind. You're only as good as your last game. Well, we've just beat West Ham and we're in the semi-final of a cup. That's the shift in mentality that hopefully Klopp is alluding to when he says the rhythm. That's the rhythm that I want you to have. Win, win, win. Doesn't matter the competition. We could be in the Club World Cup again and we have to feel, but win. Yeah. By all means, that's what we need to do.
You're here to win games of footy, and you're here to win medals and shiny trophies at the end of it. That's kind of what we're all cracking on with. Right then, before team news comes out, we reckon it'll be out in about 5 or so minutes time. There's a question to be asked about, like, if you, in terms of like midfield, or and I'll start with you on this one. Obviously no Gravenberch, maybe not. Gravenberch said it was fatigue. I don't, whether that means he's available or not, we don't really know. There is no McAllister, there's no Thiago, we know that. There's no Bajcetic. So it's Endo, it could be Trent, perhaps, don't know, Elliott, Szoboszlai, Jones. Go on. I was about to say, like, it might just be that he says to, like, you're all going to play. Yeah. You're all playing, and because there's no one else, and I don't really want to throw Bobby Clark in there or a James McConnell, which if it was 2 rounds we might have done. It does feel like Jürgen is going to say to the lads today, like, just give me today, give me Saturday, and then you'll get a few days off. We'll go again Burnley, where we might change a few, and then you've got a week off till Newcastle. Like, Liverpool I've been looking online about people like, oh, you've got to rest everyone for... You're like, they shouldn't. They haven't got the minutes in the legs that they could have had because they haven't been in the Champions League. So Salah would have played every single... If this was last year or the year before, Salah would have played every single midweek and Van Dijk would have done in all of them. I don't know. I don't buy that they all need a rest. I feel like they need to play.
No.
If anything, I thought the lads who played on the weekend, the worst ones are the ones who had the week off. I felt like they were out of rhythm, like they were out of sorts. It's the ones who play who tend to be in better nick. I think at this stage of the season, I don't think it's wrong to say go and go again.
No, I don't. And as long as there's no like concerns, as you said with Gravenberch, obviously the fatigue, is it a hamstring? What could the issue be? You don't want to aggravate it, and you don't want it to become a knock-on thing. So you take him out of the firing line, so to speak. If it was me in that midfield, what would I be looking to do? I'd play Harvey on the right. Harvey has looked fantastic when he's come off the bench for us for most games this season. He's added the spark. Agreed. And he's been, everything he's wanted to do has been on the front foot, which has been really pleasing to watch. I would like to see him on the right hand side. I'm happy to go with Endo again as the 6, because again he's another one. Give him, these are the opportunities to give him and keep blooding him in and getting him rhythm in the minutes in his legs, because we may or may not need him come the run-in, or we may or may not need him come the other side of January. We don't know how that situation's going to play out yet. We don't know what business Liverpool are going to do in the transfer window. So here's another opportunity, because we've played well enough to be here, that he can get a game. And then on that left-hand side, I mentioned it to Dan Club the other day, can Szoboszlai play on that left-hand side and do something over there? Because we've become so heavily reliant on what we build up through the right. He still seems like a player that can offer something and has the ability to still run past the man and do it any side of the pitch. So while we've not got a Gravenberch nailing it down, while there's no Jones nailing down that side, and while McAllister's currently out, maybe Szoboszlai is a bit of a backup option on that left hand side.
He's played more on the right at Leipzig. He played right wing for Leipzig. So maybe.
But that's why I'm asking. I want to know if he can do that job for us. Do you know what I mean? And just to offer us something, because the dynamic is so fluid down that right hand side. It's almost become so predictable, because they're quite happy to give Trent the ball or give Salah the ball whereas if you split those little triangles up a little bit, but you've got to find Szoboszlai now, you still want to get him on the ball, but you've got to find him on a different area of the pitch. Maybe he looks to his left to free up some space, as opposed to everything going down that right hand side. So that would be the only tweak that I make. I'm not sure it would work, but it'd be something that I'd be interested to just see. And at this point in the season now, we're not going to get many games where we can meddle and tweak things and just try things out to see if we could ever get, if we ever needed to do it again in a big game, was he capable of doing it for what? Yeah, he was. We can rely on him for that. I think these are the last kind of opportunities to really experiment. But as you mentioned before, we're not going to experiment to the extent of just throwing the kids in there. I
suppose the team's out now. Steve's going to get scrambling around as he searches for it. Do you want me to read it out for you, Steve? And then you can... Right, okay. Oh, interesting. We've got Keith Keller hitting goal. A back 4 of Gomez at right back. Oh, they've done it in number order. Christ. Van Dijk, Quansah, Costas. Endo. Oh, this could be difficult. So it's Endo, Szoboszlai, Jones and Elliott are all playing. So fill your boots on that one. So then Gakpo and Nunez. So let's have a look at you. Gakpo, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Because Salah's not starting, is he?
No.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and then your bench. You want to try and get your bench made on the right hand side. Go on. You've got Adrian.
They're not all here, don't they?
Well, we'll find out if they're not. Adrian, Ibu.
Yep.
Luis Diaz, Mo Salah.
Yeah.
This way you're going to be in trouble in a moment. Okay. Have you got Alexander Arnold and Conor Bradley?
I haven't got Bradley.
Okay. Have you got Mo Salah?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay.
I've got 5.
Yes, well, you're missing Bobby Clark, Anthony Gordon, James McConnell. We'll find they'll all be in your pile in a moment. No, don't worry about them. Don't worry about them for now. We'll talk about we'll get those in a moment. But Steve, the interesting one is then, mate. I'm going to come to you on this, because usually Liverpool give you a bit of a clue with the graphic. The fact that they've done it in number order is giving me no idea whatsoever. You could tell me then front 5 could be in any positions whatsoever.
Yeah.
And it's half believable. Endo's the 6, and then there's a fluid 5 in front of him.
Yep.
How do you see it? You got Darwin there on the left. Wow.
They're trying to turn him into a number 9, so that makes sense for balance. I suspect that is what we'll see.
Szoboszlai right wing.
Yeah, because that's what.
Is there a chance it's Elliott?
No, because of the transition. Because there's pace there, isn't there? So there No disrespect to Harvey, them legs don't move as quickly as his, do they? So I see that being the way it is. I'd rather see that, personally speaking, I'd rather see that the other way around. I'd like to see Diaz and Núñez have a real battle over a left wing position, and when fit, Jota and Gakpo go centrally. But they've made big noises about Núñez in terms of his development, in terms of being a little bit more than a goal scorer, so you don't come out and say that in press conferences and then shift him. So for me, I think we're seeing through the centre. It's
very, very fluid there. Like, I'll be honest, if I was up there with Steers, and I think Elliott's going to be on the right, and I think Szoboszlai's going to be in midfield. We've seen more of that this season, and we've done. There's Curtis Jones can play left wing, by the way. Gakpo can go left. And like it is like Liverpool have left us guessing there. The fact that they've done the team in number orders give us no clues as well. Maybe keeping West Ham guessing.
You're keeping them guessing, aren't you? Really?
How do you see it lining up? If we know the back four and we know Endo's the six, how do you see those five in front going?
Yeah, but I see what Steve's saying about the transition. I do think probably Harvey would end up on that right-hand side to get Szoboszlai in his more favoured position for Liverpool. Definitely think it'll probably be Jones on that left side of the midfield as well. And I'm with Steve. I would prefer to see Darwin off the left. Because
that's not going to happen.
And it might not. It might not. And, you know...
Not after the press conference.
And that's fair enough. But I think there's something to be said about Gakpo being able to be that connector, being able to draw in whoever is on the right hand side, whether it's Harvey or Szoboszlai, and being able to draw Núñez in on that left hand side, because we've seen them become quite interchangeable when they play Núñez and Gakpo. One will start on the left and then Núñez will drift over, and if he finds himself with that little bit of space and he's on the shoulder of the last man, he does like to go into that channel down there. So maybe it's something that isn't as fixed. You've mentioned the word fluidity a couple of times. So maybe it's not a fixed thing, and maybe there is an instruction if the space and Gakpo does come in central, Darwin, I need you to offer us that space and give us that width out wide. And as long as they're happy to kind of balance between the two and do that, I don't see it getting overly congested, because I think Jones would like to be able to just drift centrally as well. Whoever's going to play that centre of the eight is going to want to drift centrally. I don't want it to be all very compact. We're going to need a little bit of width, especially when you're looking at Gomez on that right-hand side in defence for us, and Tsimikas as well. We don't get many defenders wanting to go around the outside to the byline. I like the point
you made about the fluidity, because if you just pull that back to there, any one of those can play in any one of those positions. Started life as a left winger, started life as a right winger, and been brought in to play in central positions because they look after the ball. I think from his perspective, Jones's perspective, get the ball out of your feet and move it a bit quicker than he has done in the last couple of games. You'll need to with the players playing in front of him. So I like that state. It's a good shout, the fluidity. You've got 5 players there who can interchange, and that leaves West Ham guessing, and that leaves West Ham needing to organise and mark zonally, and that's really hard to do when you've got players moving in and out of your zone. So hopefully we catch them out a little bit with some movement.
Yeah, there's a lot of energy in that team for sure. Liam Bento with a super chat. Thanks very much, Liam, long time viewer of the show, supporter of us for many years. Thanks very much. Says I feel like we should go all out to win this League Cup. Early silverware for our new recruits will go a long way to galvanising the team, to challenge on all fronts and get them hungry for more. And there are a lot of lads in that team who could do it. There's a lot of them who've won everything, and there's also a lot of them who haven't won anything with Liverpool. So I see your point there, Liam. Before we speak on, let's talk about the West Ham 11 then. They've got Areola in goal. It's weird. He was the league goalie and Fabianski was the cup goalie. That feels like it might have swapped now. Fabianski started at the weekend. A back four of Kufal, Ogbonna, Mavropanos and Johnson. Alvarez and Souček, Fornals, Kudus, Ben Rama and Bowen. So a couple of changes. No Paqueta, he's on the bench. Ward-Prowse is on the bench as well. Kurt Zuma. So a couple of changes for West Ham, but still a very strong team. It smacks of a 4-2-3-1. They've been using that all season. Jared Bowen's been the striker ever since Mikel Antonio's
comments on his podcast.
Ever since he spoke at Liverpool and hasn't done anything since, been injured. It's a strong team. It's got a good attack. It's got Fornals, Kudus, Ben Rama, Bowen, got goals in it, Errol. Liverpool's defence will have to be at it.
I don't know about. I think they've got flair. They've got plenty of flair and potential. They've all got the ability to beat a man. And we know Bowen and Kudus have got a little bit of pace as well about them. In terms of the goals, though, it's heavily reliant on those two players that I've just mentioned, Pierre and Bowen, being the sparks for them. I think they're quite a strong team in terms of their set pieces. So, you know, they probably look to try and get as many of them as possible to try and hurt Liverpool and get some of the bigger lads into the box, and so there's the danger zones for us. But that to me seems to be, you know, it's the tried and tested threat, isn't it? Try and get your pacey lads up against our full-backs and try and play it into that space and get as quickly on top of, well, in this case, Kelleher, and try and get a shot off early. Don't let Van Dijk, don't let Quansah, don't let them get back set into positions to get numbers back in defence. That to me seems like it would be potentially West Ham's best chances of really hitting this Liverpool side tonight.
There has been rumours of football guys in the around the West Ham team. They've changed both centre backs, which is interesting.
Which is crazy,
Ogbonna and Mavropanos. Obviously, it's usually Zuma and a little bit of Aguerd as well. They're both out. Emerson played left back at the weekend. He's not starting. Kufal did start. So basically, they've changed 3 of their back 4 plus their goalkeeper. They've kept the 2 sitters in front of them. It isn't West Ham's strongest back 4. Listen, Man United made changes and Liverpool struggled, but you are getting West Ham's reserve back 4 there. Those lads, Darwin, Gakpo, whoever plays on the other side, should be licking their lips at that, really. The good players, don't get me wrong, none of them are absolute garbage, but it is a changed West Ham defence and goalkeeper that if you're a striker, you'd be licking your lips at that, really.
You're 100% you would. If we get control of the game early, you can expect to see a bit of this, because when they're playing one up top, you don't need a flat back 4 sitting there trying to negate multiple runners. So they'll just stop the lad is playing through the middle up top on his own, and Tsimikas and Gomez, depending on which side we go down, go and get involved with build up of play and keeping the ball. I suspect Liverpool from right from the goal will have massive amount of possession, and like Errol says, it'll be winning set pieces and catching half spaces and stuff like that. But this Liverpool side, you could see this Liverpool side have 60% possession again tonight. It's how they use it, and I think if we've got time on the ball, Joe Gomez has really impressed me on that right hand side as a right back. Gets forward, takes up some really great positions, and can add an extra man going down that side, make life difficult for West Ham. So it's all about control for me. We don't need, when they're playing one up top, we don't need 4 defenders sitting there marshalling him. Let's get the full backs involved and bring them across. Gomez would be quite happy to drop inside and play as an auxiliary centre back because that's his natural position. Not so much for Tsimikas, but I suspect these 2 lads will have big roles to play if we gain control of the football early on.
Interesting one is obviously the right hand side. I do wonder if Ben Doak was being lined up to play in this one. They didn't put him on the bench against United because they wanted some minutes in his legs, and unfortunately he done his knees out. He'll be done for the season. Surgery's a bad one. It felt like they were getting him. It felt like he probably would have started this one. Otherwise, he'd have been on the bench at United, you'd think. It felt like they were trying to get some minutes into his legs before this game. It's gone wrong, but it's a blow for him. It's a blow for Liverpool, really, and it is just worth touching upon. Like Ben Doak for the season, he probably would have been involved in this one at the very least on the bench. I think he was probably being lined up to start.
Yeah, and it's, as I said, it's unfortunate really for the young man, because we've seen it with Bajcetic last season. The emergence of a young player that looked capable, didn't look out of his depth when he was playing with these senior players. And you've seen the impact that his injuries had on him. We thought we'd get him back at the start of the season. We're already at Christmas next week now, and he's still not played any minutes for us. So these things can take time to come back and get back up to full match fitness. So obviously we just hope any of the surgery and all the recovery goes well for him. But it is a big miss for us, because these competitions are the ones where, your fringe players and your reserve players cut the teeth.
Yeah.
It's where you can really find out, are they able to make the grade? Will they ever
it's where we probably first learned about Jello Quansah a little bit, wasn't it? A little bit.
And Kelleher, a couple of seasons back, you was thinking, what's this young lad going to be able to do? You hear so much about his distribution and how competent he is, and League Cup, he looked like a player, and I still think he is that. I know he's had a bit of a shaky bit of form, but that happens with keepers, because if you're a backup keeper, you're not playing as regularly, so that will happen. And this game or these competitions, this Europa League, it's allowed. And for how shit we finished last season, I did see the benefits of us dropping down to the Europa League for this year, because it was an opportunity to bed in the new midfielders, see where they're up to. It would have been an opportunity for some of the fringe lads.
That case of making the best of a bad situation, do you think?
Well, we had to though, didn't we, mate? Really, because when we went wholesale and bought a whole new midfield, and you don't know the levels that they're going to come at, you need to think, right, well, we've spent 20 mil on him, we spent X amount on him, are they going to make the grade? And the Europa League, they're cutting the team, you think, actually, that might be a level. So, to the likes of Endo, he's been pretty much nailed on for all those Europa League games, and you know you've got a 6 to play in those positions. You're taking the pressure off your main guy in the league because you don't have to use him. Same with Kelleher. We can rely on him for those competitions because you think you're going to get in. That's why he stayed. Kelleher probably looked at Liverpool towards the back end of last year and thought, if they get into the Champions League, I'm gone. I'm not doing another season where I'm only going to get the League Cup and the FA Cup and don't know how many games in each round I'm going to get out of those. Whereas the Europa League comes round and he's probably looking at it thinking, if we do well in that, I'm going to get at least 6 games in the Europa. And then if we get out of that and I've done well, I'm going to be that goalkeeper as long as we're in the competition until, if we get to a final, depending on what's happened, Klopp might look and say, all right, well, we need Alisson for the final, but I'll have been part of that whole campaign.
He won't do
I don't think he would, but
he didn't last time.
He didn't. And I think, but in his mindset, at least he can prepare himself mentally to know, I'm going to get at least X amount of games in that competition. The League Cup's going to prevent me an opportunity, and so's the FA Cup, the early rounds at least. The same can be said for the likes of your Quansers, your Ben Dokes. It's happened before, the Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones. That's how he cut his teeth and started to, make some really impactful performances for us in the cup competition. So there is something to be said for being able to have those fringe players. It's a bit disappointing that not enough of them have done enough so far in the season to really, apart from Quanta, to really be like, right, I'm knocking on the door, get me some minutes, here's a competition for me.
I think the difference is, Jones and our young players are just first team players now. The young players are Jones, Elliott,
the age has gone
Kwanzaa. That's what it is. The young players. Right, guys, we're going to start wrapping up in a moment. Before we do, I want to give you some quick messages. So, as I'm speaking to you, get all typing now, whether in the Discord or in the chat, your score predictions for this game. Now you've seen our team and you've seen West Ham's team. Both are along the bottom, or at least the Liverpool one is anyway, along the bottom as we're recording right now. So get yourselves involved. Let us know the score predictions. While you do, a couple of quick messages. Of course, the watch along will kick off in about half an hour's time. So do come and join me and Errol for that one. Afterwards, on YouTube, it'll be me again with the post-game Fan Interactive show and over at the board, the player ranking show. You'll have Ste and Errol over on redmenplus.com with the instant match reaction and the player rating show. Speaking of Redmen Plus, we'll be doing our Legends draw at the start of watch along as well. So if you're a Redmen Plus subscriber at Legend status, you will be in the hat, or well, on the wheel, to win a goalkeeper glove signed by former Liverpool and England goalkeeper Chris Kirkland. That is the prize that we're giving away just before kickoff. If you want to be in the hat for that, plus loads of other amazing prizes between now and Christmas, including a signed Dibu Konate shirt, get yourselves over to redmenplus.com, sign up. If you do, by the way, our 2-part special on Christmas Eve and on Christmas Day, the 50 greatest signings in the history of Liverpool Football Club. Part 1, Christmas Eve, Part 2, live on Christmas Day, both on Redmen Plus. Steve Plunk was part of that one. We needed someone old to speak about the 80s, lads, so... Sorry, Steve.
I've just binged your Christmas card, lad.
So yeah, if you want to, John Mating got involved as well. He's old as well. So if you want to get involved in them, and of course, loads of other great stuff as well. Redmenplus.com is the place to go. Get yourselves involved in the competition, and of course, in the top 50 signings as well. The countdown was eye-opening, to say the least. They don't give anything away, but it's a bit mad.
Yeah, it was, yeah, absolutely mental at times, yeah.
Yeah, there's certain players being above other players baffled me. And
certain players even being in that list, mate.
Yeah. It was all voted for by the fans as well. It was all you guys who voted for it. Right then, score predictions. While you guys have a little think, I'll read some very, very quickly. I can't get them all because of billions of them.
Christopher Campbell says 2-0 to Liverpool.
Ben's gone for 2-0. Cooper's gone for 1-0. Jack's gone for 3-0 with Darwin. Dan's gone for a 4-all, which is mad. Corazon, I think that says, has gone for 2-all and pens. Freedom says 1-all, Liverpool winning on pens as well. Let's have a little look who else is in there. Steve Ryder's gone for a 3-0. Kieran's gone for a 2-1. Stevie, I'll come to you first. What are your score predictions? You've seen both teams. Yeah. What are you reckoning now?
I think we'll win 1-0.
Oh, you bastard.
And I think we'll score quite early and then we'll make changes to shut up shop, manage the game and manage minutes.
I don't like the sound of it.
I don't like the sound of it, but it was exactly what I was going to go for. I was thinking 1-0,
I've gone the exact... I've gone opposite. I've gone 2-all, pens. The Reds win on pens. We saw 2 penalty shootouts yesterday. I think we're going to see a third one today.
What a last save by the Chelsea keeper, by the way.
Yeah, he's a good goalie, wasn't he? And
have you seen the Onara commentary? the commentary for it. Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah,
absolutely brilliant.
Oh, no. If Everton had a goalkeeper with normal size arms, he'd have saved about 4 of them, because he went the right way, to be fair to Jordan Pickford. He only had little teeny tiny arms and couldn't reach it.
So you've gone 2-2 then, yeah? 2-2
Little Desmond, yeah, little Desmond.
Desmond,
Little Desmond and the Reds winning on pens. Keller has saved them, at least 2. That's what I'm going for. Well, Liverpool's bench is set up for penalty takers as well, so I think I'd back us if it got that far. Right then, do come and join us in about half an hour's time for the watch along. We'll see you all there. See you in a bit.
Hey, thank you so much for checking out the content today. If you want to get your name in and amongst these wonderful people, then head to redmenplus.com. Join as a Legend tier subscriber. You're going to get free merchandise codes. You're going to get in our Discord, and you're going to get your name at the end of YouTube videos. Yes, redmenplus.com, Legend tier status.